Okay, so imagine this. Brands with fans so hardcore they'd paint their faces. That's the kind of passion we're going to deep dive into right now. We're talking sports, travel, the whole experiential marketing scene. And our guide is two newsletters by Daniel Hetwer.
Oh, yeah, he's great.
He's Director of Strategy and Business Development at a company that, well, they basically make these immersive experiences happen. So it's like we're getting a peek inside, like the mind of someone who's hunting for the next big thing,
Right.
especially if you're into how, like, industries are evolving beyond just, selling stuff.
Yeah, it's not just about the product anymore, right? It's about making someone like a true believer in the brand, its whole story, what it represents.
Totally. It's like super fans, not just someone who bought something once. And Hetwer's first big point is that sports are like the key to unlocking this whole immersive experience thing. And he doesn't just say it. He's got proof.
Yeah, he brings up companies like COSM. They're making these high-tech places where you can watch live sports. They're partnered with the NFL using immersive technology, and the response is, like, amazing. People are saying it's like being in the stadium surrounded by other fans taps into that tribal feeling, like the need to experience things together.
Like it takes that energy of being in a crowd, and it's like times 10 right. And it's not just watching either.
Right.
Hetwer mentions Toca. They just got like $100 million to create these hybrid sports facilities. So they're part training center, part hangout spot, blending your love of the game with, well, being with others who love it too.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's the big guys, EA Sports, raking in over $1 billion just from their sports games.
Yeah.
What Hetwer's saying is sports already have that built-in intensity. Like, they bring people together. Now companies are figuring out how to, like, bottle that up and make experiences that go way beyond just watching a screen.
Which makes me think about how much people spend on jerseys, tickets, fantasy leagues. It's like, they're not just fans, they're like invested in their team winning.
That's what Hetwer calls the Fandom formula, right? Turning customers into diehards. The kind who practically breathe the brand.
Exactly. And the cool part is, he says this fandom formula isn't limited to sports. You figure out what makes a sports fan tick, you can use it anywhere. Look at the cult followings of brands like Apple, Tesla, even suit and coffee shops.
It's all about those deep emotional connections, right? Okay, buckle up, because this is where things get interesting. Hetwer's next point is travel. Good news is, U.S. travel is bouncing back faster than expected. International arrivals probably going to pass pre-pandemic levels by 2026. But there's a twist.
Travelers are getting picky, you see. Tourist traps, they're not cutting it anymore. People want unique experiences, the kind you don't find in a guidebook. Authentic stuff, something. Off the beaten path. And that's where Hetwer sees this huge opportunity. He says big sporting events, like the World Cup or Olympics, they draw people to specific places. It's like instant marketing.
Yeah. And he thinks countries and states can use this, like promote lesser-known spots, take the pressure off places that are already crowded with tourists. He mentions Dubai's doing this, trying to diversify their tourism scene.
So it's about making those unique, memorable moments, tapping into that whole discover something new feeling. But it's not just about the location, is it? Hetwer's third point, it's all about experiential marketing, like how brands engage consumers beyond just ads. And this is where things get wild.
Oh, absolutely. He has some seriously unexpected examples, like banking. He talks about impactainment, experiences designed to make you feel the impact of financial decisions.
Impact, okay, that's a new, I'm trying to picture it like a VR thing where you make choices about money and then you see what happens. Long term.
Yeah, imagine putting on the headset and you experience retiring comfortably because you were smart with money back in your 20s, or the stress of debt because you didn't save. Could that make financial planning more engaging, especially for younger folks?
It would definitely be more impactful than just staring at a spreadsheet. But it gets even crazier. Hetwer says Nintendo's hinted at doing hotels and restaurants, possibly with money from Saudi Arabia. Are we talking theme park-style experiences based on their games?
It's a really interesting thought. Nintendo's worlds, they're always so joyful, whimsical. So themed hotels, restaurants, even whole entertainment districts, it kind of makes sense.
And with that kind of funding, they could go all out. I'm already picturing like a Mario Kart track you can drive on.
Wait, it gets wilder. Chick-fil-A, they're launching their own entertainment app, family-friendly shows, and podcasts.
Whoa, Chick-fil-A going Hollywood.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of fits their image right. Strong family values, wholesome stuff. But still, surprising.
It shows this trend of brands becoming content creators, realizing they got to offer more than just their products or services. They want to be part of the culture, fit into our lives in new ways.
So they're not just a place for chicken sandwiches. They're like your family fun headquarters. And speaking of unexpected moves, Hetwer mentions OnlyFans, the platform known for, well, that, is trying to get creators who aren't, adult content.
Yeah, that was definitely a surprise. Sounds like they're trying to move away from that image, become more mainstream.
But can they really do that?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they're known for, right? It's like a total brand makeover. I don't know if it'll work.
It's risky, that's for sure. They'll have to work hard to convince people, creators and consumers, that this is for real. We'll see what happens. It's like watching brand evolution in real time.
Totally. Okay, so we've got sports, travel, banking, gaming, food, and even, well, let's just say adult entertainment. And they're all kind of coming together around this idea of making these immersive experiences that go way beyond just buying something.
What's amazing is how Hetwer ties all this together. He's showing how brands are changing the way they connect with us. It's not about transactions anymore. It's about feelings, shared experiences, that sense of belonging.
And he does it in a way that keeps you hooked. Who knew we'd be talking about Chick-fil-A and OnlyFans in the same conversation?
That's the genius of it. He's not afraid to explore the unusual stuff, challenge what we think we know, and by doing that, he's giving us a look into the future of how brands will be interacting with us. But we've just scratched the surface. We need to let this sink in. When we come back, we're going even deeper into what all this means. What does it mean for the future of how consumers and brands connect? Stick with us. There's so much more to unpack.
All right, I think I've caught my breath, barely. What really hit me is like the role of technology in all this. It's like the physical and digital are blurring together right in front of us.
Totally. And Hetwer doesn't focus on it directly, but it's kind of woven through all his points. Like those immersive sports things at COSM, they're using crazy tech to make you feel like you're actually in the stadium, even if you're miles away.
Yeah. And even Toca, with those hybrid sports social places, they're probably using tech to amp it up. Maybe it's like gamified training or interactive leaderboards, stuff to make it more fun. Tech's not just there, it's shaping the whole experience.
And for travel, tech makes it so easy to find and book those off-the-beaten-path trips that Hetwer talks about. Stuff that only hardcore adventurers could do before is now like a few clicks away for anyone.
So tech is this invisible force, kind of, changing how we experience sports, how we see the world. But the big question is, what does it mean for how brands connect with us in the future? Like, is everything going to become an experience? And if so, how do brands even stand out?
Ooh, good question. If everything's an experience, then experience doesn't mean much anymore, right? It's just noise. I think what'll matter is authenticity.
Authenticity, yeah. Makes sense. Consumers are getting smarter, we see through the BS marketing tricks. So you can't just throw some tech at something and call it an experience.
Exactly. You got to create something people actually connect with. Something that taps into their emotions, their values, what they want. The brands that'll win are the ones that can tell good stories, build real communities, make experiences that feel genuine and meaningful.
It makes me wonder about our role in all this as consumers. Are we just along for the ride, passively taking in these experiences brands make? Or do we got to be more demanding? Like, expect more from the brands we interact with.
That's a great point. It goes both ways. Brands are putting in the effort, but consumers shape those experiences too. We're not just sitting back watching.
Maybe it's about speaking up about what we like, supporting brands that share our values, or even like co-creating stuff with brands we love. We've got more power than we think. Okay, I want to get back to some of Hetwer's examples. There's so much there. Like that impactainment thing in banking, that really got me thinking.
Oh yeah, super interesting. Using immersive stuff to make financial decisions, like more real, more emotionally connected. It's way different than the usual charts and spreadsheets, which are kind of boring.
Totally. I'm imagining like a VR thing where you see the results of your savings choices. Like you experience retiring comfortably, traveling, doing all the things you want, or the opposite, struggling because you didn't save enough.
Exactly. It could be huge for financial literacy, especially for young people who aren't really thinking about retirement yet. If you make those abstract ideas feel real, make them engaging, people might actually pay attention.
But there's downsides too, right? Could it be manipulative? Or even make people more anxious? Money's already stressful enough for a lot of people.
Yeah, good point. There's a fine line between being informative and exploiting people's emotions. Brands got to be really careful. Transparency, ethical stuff, super important.
And what about access? If this is going to teach people about finances, it has to be available to everyone, rich or poor, tech savvy or not. We don't want only certain people having these tools, right?
Absolutely. Something to think about for sure. Okay, let's switch gears, talk Nintendo. This one is just fun to imagine. Hotels, restaurants, theme parks, it's like they're going to build whole worlds based on their games.
Makes total sense given their brand. Nintendo's all about joy, whimsy, so themed entertainment. It just fits bringing those digital worlds to life.
And with that Saudi money behind them, they can do it big. It'll be fascinating to see how they use their iconic characters in games. Mario hotels, Zelda escape rooms. The possibilities are endless.
Oh my God, imagine a Pokemon restaurant where you can catch Pokemon while you eat. This is going to be huge.
And we can't forget Chick-fil-A jumping into entertainment with their app.
I know, right? Such a curveball. But it shows that brands are getting it. They have to be more than just products or services to stay relevant these days.
It's about attention, loyalty, being part of the culture. And Chick-fil-A, they've got a strong brand, loyal customers, they're in a good position, family-friendly content that fits their values. Smart move, especially now when everyone's attention is all over the place.
Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room OnlyFans. Head we're saying they want non-adult creators is definitely raising some eyebrows.
Bold move, no doubt. They're trying to get away from that image, be more mainstream. But can they actually do it?
That's the thing. They built their whole brand on that. Can people just forget about it? Like a total rebranding, and I'm not sure it'll work.
It's a gamble, for sure. They got to really convince people, creators and consumers that they're serious. Only time will tell if they can overcome that reputation. But it's fascinating to watch brand evolution happening right in front of us.
Absolutely. Okay, one more thing to touch on, museums. Hedera mentioned all the corporate sponsorships happening in the museum world, which is a tricky situation.
Yeah, it's complicated. Museums need money to survive, and sponsorships can be a lifesaver. But there's always that worry about corporations influencing what museums show.
Exactly. Museums got to be careful not to lose their artistic integrity just for funding. It's a tough balance.
It's about finding the right partners, ones that share the museum's values, and where the sponsorship actually makes the experience better for visitors, not worse.
Yeah, it should feel natural, not like a marketing trick.
Yeah.
Okay, we've covered a lot. Immersive sports, mind-bending banking experiences, the crazy world of themed entertainment. Brands are doing everything they can to get our attention and make a lasting impression.
They don't just want to sell us stuff anymore. They want to create experiences, communities, real connections.
And technology is a big part of that, blurring the lines between the real and the digital. So many possibilities for creating immersive experiences.
But with all that, I think the biggest takeaway, the thing that'll make or break brands in the future, is authenticity. People want experiences that feel real, meaningful, that match their values.
They want to feel like they're part of something bigger, something real. And the brands that get that deliver on that promise of authenticity, those are the ones that'll win. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's take a breath. When we come back, we'll wrap this deep dive up with one last question to think about, something to really get those wheels turning. Okay, welcome back. So we've explored a lot about immersive experiences, how brands are using tech to blur the lines between the real world and the digital, creating stuff that goes way beyond just buying something.
And that whole idea of authenticity, how important it is now. Consumers want experiences that feel real, that mean something, that fit with what they care about.
But as we wrap up, we want to leave you with a question, something to really think about as you navigate this whole world of experiences, which is constantly changing.
Tech is moving so fast, it's crazy. So what kinds of experiences will we see in the future? Will we have these hyper-personalized experiences tailored to each person's, specific tastes? Or will we want more shared experiences, the kind that bring people together?
And AI, what's its role going to be? Will it help us make truly personalized adventures? Or will it make experiences feel kind of fake, like too manufactured?
And maybe the most important question is, what's your role going to be?
Will you just passively take in these experiences? Or will you be more active, demand more from brands, push for experiences that are both innovative and authentic?
We think the future of this whole experiential thing, it has so much potential. It can make our lives better, connect us with people, create memories that stick with us. But we all got to make sure it's a future we actually want, where tech helps us, not controls us, where brands care about real connection, not just chasing trends.
So keep exploring, keep asking questions, keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.